that gives you trade ideas, in-depth market analysis. We answer all of your trading questions, and we're going to look at any news reaction if there is any, but there isn't today, so we won't bother. Yeah, how are you guys? Haven't seen you for a while. It always feels like I haven't seen you for a while, but yeah, it was only Thursday. It's because we had the long Easter weekend, so I hope everyone had a nice long Easter weekend. Didn't do anything that I wouldn't do, so you can pretty much do whatever you like. Also, RIP to the Pope. Yeah, RIP. He seemed like a nice Pope. Yeah, I'm not a super religious man, I must say, but he did seem like a nice Pope. So RIP to him. And if anyone hasn't seen the film Conclave, it makes that film more interesting because that's how they decide who the next pope is going to be. So there's going to be a conclave now and smoke coming out of the Vatican. And yeah, very interesting. I suggest watching the film Conclave with Ralph Fiennes. Anyway, you're not here for movie advice. You are here for trading advice. So that's exactly what we're going to do, guys. We're going to look at trades that I'm in. We're going to look at the market in general and what we're seeing and any potential new trade ideas. And we're going to answer all of your trading questions. All right. So don't be shy, guys. Ask as many questions as you bloody well like. Let me just bring up the live chat so I can see you all. Yeah, an afternoon all. Let's start with a couple of trades that I am in. I'm actually in 3 trades, but let me show you a couple of them. So pound Swiss franc is one trade that I'm in. So let's do a top-down approach to understand why I'm in this trade. All right, so I'm buying pound Swiss franc. Now, if we go down to the weekly chart, in fact, right, let me get rid of all of these. Let me get rid of some of these alarms. Okay, that hasn't helped much, right? But a few reasons why I like pound Swiss franc buys. Firstly, we are at a very important weekly support level, right? We know there's buyers at this level. And ever since we've hit this level, right, buyers have come back into the market. We had a week's worth of buying, right? That is a buying candle. Okay, now I don't think, this is still in a downtrend, right? But because things were so overextended here, this trade potentially has some room to retrace into, right? So that's what the weekly is showing me and telling me. And then if we look at the day chart, guys, right, ever since we hit these lows, look at this candle, right, followed by that candle. But then this level just keeps holding, and then we get bullish candle, bearish candle, bullish. And then yesterday's candle, right, had a bit of a bottom wick. So all I'm looking to do is just take price back up to these highs, right? I'll leave some profit to run because it could come back up to these highs here, right, and the moving average 20. So weekly and daily give me my direction, guys, as you know, and I'm looking to buy it, right, for those reasons. Then on the H4, right, I'm looking for trend. Okay, and if I'm looking for a buy trade, I want the H4 to be in an uptrend, right, in a perfect world, and we all live in a perfect world. Anyway, right, so as you can see, H4, just follow the highs and the lows, right? This is where we're at, right? We're getting higher lows. Christ, what happened to that line? Bear with me. And we're getting higher highs, although this high is holding so far. So H4 is in an uptrend, okay? And we're just above the moving average 20, right? It's going to be interesting to see how this candle finishes, right? We've only got, 55 minutes for this candle to finish. So it'd be interesting to see how this finishes, right? So that's what we like, right? That's the trade that we are in, okay? I actually entered yesterday. I entered in here. We started entering in here, right? Put my stop below here and looking to take price back up to here. All right, so this is my risk. This is my reward. And that is the trade that I am in. All right, so that's pound Swiss franc. And I'm also in oil, right? I'm actually in Brent crude oil, right? The black gold. There is plenty of it out here, right? This Dubai has been built with the black gold, and they've done a bloody good job, right? They really have. Okay. Yeah, because if you think about it, there's a lot of countries out there who have oil or let's say mineral wealth, right? But they don't do anything with it. It stays within a few corrupt few, right? Now, here, they've got all this oil money and they build a bustling metropolis. They pay for their, their citizens' healthcare, their education, their weddings. They give them properties, right? Yeah, they do all right. They support, their people. And that's why they all like their leaders here. I'm going to offer a bit of a tangent, but that's why they all like their leaders. Whereas, if I compare it to the UK, all my leaders do is just argue and is one idiot followed by another and just tax the shit out of me. Right? So I'm less keen, on my leaders. Anyway, that was a side point. Back to Brent crude. And let's do a top-down approach again, guys, right? So similar to pound Swiss franc, right? It is against trend. If we look at the weekly chart, right, we're in a downtrend. And then just super overextended down here. And ever since then, we have just seen, a doji candle. But look at last week's candle. That is buyer central, right? Loads of buyers, a week's worth of buyers. And then if you look at the day chart, I would say we've had a structure break, right? Price came down, sort of this level through here, kind of become a level, right? And then we broke it, okay? And we're getting higher lows, higher highs. We're in an uptrend, and we still have a bit of room to potentially come back up to this next piece of resistance in here, right? So again, weekly, daily, give me my direction. What I'm showing you guys is price action, simple price action. And that reminds me, after this vid, guys, we're also going to, post. Wouldn't believe I have a YouTube channel. I know none of the terminology. But we're going to post a price action tutorial, right? So it's super simple. It's what you need to know about price action. So keep your eye out for that, guys. We are going to launch that after this live stream. Get my words right. Back to Brent, right? So daily, weekly tells me I'm buying. And then again, I'm just looking for H4 structure to play ball, to be in an uptrend. And you can kind of see, maybe, H4 kind of broke down here, but ever since then, it's just shot up, right? And we're getting higher highs, we're getting higher lows. Yeah, and all I'm looking to do is potentially just fill this gap back up to these highs, right? And then leave some profit to run, all right? And on this trade, I actually entered in here, because this candle formed late last night for me because of my time zone, right? I was snoring, sleeping, maybe dribbling a little bit, maybe speaking in my sleep, maybe sleepwalking. Maybe we've done all of these things. I don't know. But anyway, we had this big bullish candle that formed, right, while I was sleeping. And then as I woke up, this was still my entry candle. It just so happens price was around here and I entered, right? Stops below here, looking to take price back up to here. All right, so again, guys, simple price action. And worth pointing out here, guys, as well, is if you want all of my trade ideas every day. So let me just show you a couple of things on here, guys, right? So this is the Discord channel, okay? So this is my pound Swiss franc trade that I'm still in, right? And this is my Brent crude oil trade that I'm in. So if you want my trade ideas every day, then please come join our VIP Discord, right? Also, guys, in our free Discord, please come join that as well. It is totally free. It's our trading community, right? If we go to Tom's Daily Trade Ideas, I give you these for free, right? Every day, there's the date, right? And these are my trade ideas. Okay, so every day I give you these within the VIP Discord channel. So if you haven't joined our Discord, please join it right now, right? And you can also speak to traders, share ideas, have a chit chat, talk about what you've done over the Easter weekend, talk about the Pope, whatever you want to talk about. Yeah, so come join that, guys. Also, if you want access to all of our premium trading education, then please don't forget to join to check out our website, www.simply-forex.com. And we've got 25% off the Simply Forex course right now. And also, today's live stream is brought to you by Blueberry Funded. Let's hear from our sponsors.
Exciting news, Simply Forex has partnered with Blueberry Funded, a proprietary trading firm backed by a world-class award-winning broker, Blueberry Markets. So if you want to increase your trading capital without increasing risk, plus benefit from some of the best spreads in the prop firm industry, then Blueberry Funded is the prop firm for you. Their challenges are innovative and sustainable with regular payouts, and their customer service and cutting-edge technology create a seamless experience. For all of these reasons, you get access to a prop firm that truly understands traders' needs and provides the tools you need for success. Support Simply Forex and take your trading to the next level. Click the link in the description and sign up now.
All right, guys, there you go. It is 20% off any funded challenge right now with Blueberry Funded. Use our link and our code above my head. Right, enough of all that business. Let's have a look at the live chat. Let's see who is in the house. Got to get that out of the way. Right, Brett. Hi, Brett. How are you, mate? Luigi, how are you? Luigi, did I tell you I'm coming to Italy? I'm going from Pisa to Florence. I'm doing a little road trip with the family. Yeah, and drinking wine along the way. Won't be drink driving, but drinking wine. There you go. So Colin, yo, how are you, Colin? How's Bali, mate? Yusuf, hi Tom, how you doing? Great today. Please can we look at pound US dollar? Certainly, Yusuf, we can look at that. Brett also wants the thoughts on NAS and the S&P. No problem, Brett. We will take a look at that. Brett, price action is God. It is. Yeah, price action is my God. Right, and Scott, morning Tom, morning Scott, how are you? So yeah, hello guys, hope everyone's well, hope you had a nice long Easter weekend, and Liverpool won again. Come on Liverpool, we're not far off winning the Premier League now. But let's take a look at a few of these things that you were looking at. Right, so pound US dollar, Yusuf, this one is for you, and let's do a top-down approach, right? So weekly, right, pound and euro have been incredibly strong and US dollar has been incredibly weak. And we have just seen, a badass of an uptrend, right? Like it's it did retrace once, but it's just shot off after that. Look at euro as well, euro US dollar, right? We know these two have been, euro and pound against the US dollar have been stronger than, Steven Seagal and Chuck Norris in an 80s movie, right? But let's go back to pound US dollar. Now, straight away, there's conflict, right? Because if you get any trend, which this is an uptrend, right? And you're in an uptrend, but you're exactly at resistance, then you don't have a trade, right? I don't have a trade because I'm in an uptrend, so I want to buy the market, but we're at a level of resistance, and a resistance level by definition is a selling level, because for buyers to hit resistance, they would have to meet sellers. So don't even think of it as a resistance level. This is a selling level in here, right? So straight away, pound US dollar is not looking like a trade, right? But let's get some more information, right? Let's go to the day chart. And I just wanted to scroll out so you can see that level again. And this is exactly where we are, right? Now, we're at a nice big psychological level, this 1.34, right? 0.00000, that means psychological level, right? And I don't want to buy into this level, right? If we start breaking this level, I don't really want to start buying it there either, because there's no value, right? Look, the moving average 20 is here. And as we know by now, guys, this is the mean of the market, right? So this is where price reverts back to the mean. You remember that curve that you had in price distribution, was it? Anyway, I forget. I have got a maths A level. I'm quite proud of it. But yeah, I think it's called normal distribution, right? So normal distribution says that should come back to the mean, right? This is like an outlier, right? Anyway, right, we're at a resistance level. So even if we break that, we're still too overbought, right? There's no value up here. I'm not interested. What I would consider, right, is trading the retrace. Because we're at a nice weekly level, if we get a big bearish candle that looks like this at a weekly level, right, we're overbought up here or overextended, I would look to trade the retrace back down to this high, right? And that's the only trade really for me here. But right now we don't have that candle, right? We've got a bullish candle. This is today's candle. Let's see what happens. But right now, just no trade with pound US dollar for those reasons, right? Don't want to buy it. Don't want to sell it. This candle's bullish. All right. But things would change. Like I say, if I see a big bearish candle like this, then I may consider trading the retrace. And when I trade that retrace, right, because you're going against trend, I mean, this is with all of my trades, to be honest, but I want to be with H4 structure, right? So if we look at H4 structure, interestingly, right, are we getting a break of structure today, right? We've stopped making higher highs. This is the last higher low. If we break H4 structure today, right, it's interesting. That will probably be represented with a bearish daily candle as well, right? If you get a big, if you get a H4 candle followed by a H4 candle that looks like that, you're going to end up with a very big bearish daily candle, right? So interesting at the moment. And like I say, I would sell back down to that last high there. So let's see. Let's see what happens to pound US dollar. Not a trade for me today. Tomorrow it could well be. So hope that helps Yusuf. Right, what else are we looking at? Brett, thoughts on NAS and S&P? Okay, so the indices in general, let's take a look at those. Before I do, guys, if I could please ask everyone to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button while I have a quick drink of neat vodka. Beautiful. Right, NAS or S&P? Let's have a look at the NAS because it sounds like a gangster rapper. Now let's do a top-down approach, right? Like even start with the monthly here, because we've had. I'm going to start with the monthly. I wouldn't normally do this, guys, but we've had such big moves, right? With the indices, you have to look at the big picture. Right, it makes sense. And we have had some big moves, right? We know the indices, started flying down on the back of Trump's tariffs. Then we got the 90-day pause and we've seen price bounce back up. And it's no coincidence, right, that it's happened at a support level. It amazes me how many times like geopolitical macroeconomic news corresponds with technical levels. Honestly, it's uncanny how often that happens. And as you can see, this was the last significant area, that we could look at here, right? We've got another touch there, but you can see price bouncing off of that level, right? So looking at the monthly, and it's really important to look at the monthly, right? Because, if I show you like the hour, right? No, okay. Let me show you the 4 hour. Okay, let me go back in time. Right, so if I start showing you the 4 hour, right, when it was coming down, you're thinking, this is the end of the world. The world's going to stop spinning. All money is coming to a halt, right? It's all about perspective, right? And I bet there's a lot of traders started jumping in on this trade, started selling here, started selling here. They're like, it's going lower, and then bang, right? It bounces back up. But if I showed you that move on the monthly chart, it's just in keeping with reasonable price action, right? There was clearly a sell-off, but on the monthly chart, it's an uptrend. Okay, this is where we're at. And really, we haven't broke these last lows in here, right? We haven't. So we're still in an uptrend. Right, so it's all about perspective when you get these big, end of the world drastic moves, right? So, and this is where we are, right? So, do we want to keep selling this? It'll be very interesting to see how this monthly candle finishes, right? Because, let me just get out of this. Yeah, because it hasn't finished forming yet, right? It's going to be very interesting to see by the end of April where this candle is. If it looks like this, then, potentially buys, right? But let's get more information. Let's now look at the weekly chart. Okay. And even the weekly looked a bit like end of the world stuff, right? And then bang, right? 90-day pause. But looking at the weekly, right, we're you don't need to be Warren Buffett. We're in a downtrend, right? And this is where we're at. But, do you want to sell that market? Do you want to sell into this big weekly wick, right? This is the 90-day pause candle, right? That's what that is. But do you want to start selling into it, right? And the answer is no, you don't. Remember, these are the last lows that I spoke about on the monthly, and they haven't broke, right? So I don't want to sell the indices. Right. And I don't want to buy them because there's so much uncertainty. What's going to happen between America and China? I'm not a fundamental trader, but it's difficult to not be aware of the fundamentals, right, when it comes to the indices at the moment. But this is in a downtrend, right? Lower highs. So really, I want to sell it, but I cannot sell that big bullish candle. So indices are still stay away from me. Right, but let's have a look at the day chart as well. Now, the day chart is still in a downtrend, right? Okay, so regardless of this line that I've put in here, this could probably be a little bit misleading, this grey support and resistance level, right? We are still in a downtrend, all right? Lower highs, lower lows. So until I actually see the daily chart break structure, that's the only way I'd be looking for buys, right? And I'd like to see how that monthly candle finishes as well. All right, but for now, just staying clear of the indices. So yeah, hope that helps, Brett, with the indices. Luigi says you did have fun and drink a nice glass of vino. Luigi, I will drink more than one glass of vino. You can rest assured. But yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. And there's Gladiator, the film, right? It's one of my top 5 films, right? I love the film Gladiator with Russell Crowe. And there's a green, it's a real nice, beautiful green Tuscan hills, right? It's a lovely area. But there's a bit where he's at the end of the film and he's wandering into the afterlife, right? And he's brushing his hands across the grass. So that was in Tuscany in this specific field that we're going to visit. So there you go. Very interesting. We do movie trivia, we do tradings, we do football. We do it all on this channel, guys. Right, so there you go, Luigi. Yeah. Carlos, hello, Tom. Could you please check gold? Silver. Sorry, I always get those two confused. Please check silver. Yeah, silver and gold are interesting to me, right? Because, you know, obviously they're highly, highly correlated. But if you look at the day chart, the correlation has absolutely broken, right? This is in a daily downtrend. I know we've had a big bounce up, but we're really in a downtrend with silver, right? And this is highly correlated with gold. Now look at the gold daily chart. The correlation has snapped, right? There is no correlation at the moment, right? And you have to bear in mind, if you look to the right, guys, they're both pinned against the US dollar, right? And we know the US dollar is weak. So, you know, it's like the perfect storm for gold. Gold just keeps ticking up, right? The next big psychological level is this 3,500. Has it quite, and it's literally just got there today. That has got to that level. Yeah, if I hover over, if you look at these figures here, and you look at the high there, it's literally just got to 3,500. That is a big psychological number for me, right? It'll be very interesting to see what gold does here. But yeah, that correlation's broke. But let's go back to silver, because Carlos, that is what you were asking about. Now, let's do a top-down approach, right? Now, if we look at silver, right, and again, all I do, guys, when I analyze the charts is I look at the facts, and the facts of the chart are price action, right? Now, if we look at this, we were in an uptrend, right? We were getting higher highs, sorry, higher lows. I always get them muddled up, but you know what I mean. Higher highs. We were in an uptrend. No two ways about it. Then kapow. Super big sell-off, and then kapow. Super big buying action, right? But we're in a downtrend, getting lower lows, right? We're in a downtrend. No two ways about it. Did we want to sell that candle? No, we did not. Do we want to sell this candle? It's become more appealing, right? But let's get some more information, right? Let's look at the day chart. Now, okay, I could adjust my gray zone here a little bit, really, just to take into account some more recent price action. Okay, so I'm going to take into account this, right? So you can see a level through here. Hits, 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 hits. So this is, I'm just refreshing, doing a spring clean. So this is more the support and resistance level through here. Okay. Now, again, we are in a downtrend, right? We are. I know we've had this huge move up, but technically we're in a downtrend. We're getting lower lows, and we don't know where the next lower highs will be. Will it be here? Time will tell. And I'll show you what will tell us this. Now, this is where we're at. And we're at a resistance level, and we're at the moving average 20 as well. Right? So we're at a really interesting level with silver. Ha. Sorry, forgot to do my pirate impression. Now, what I would sell this, because if you imagine, right, gold is very overextended. So at that 3,500 level, you know, can we expect a bit of a retrace, right? Which would mean US dollar strength. And it would also correlate nicely with a sell from here, right? If gold's selling off a bit, silver should follow suit, although I know the correlation's broken, but it's more US dollar strength is what I'm talking about there, right? And we will talk about US dollar strength in one minute. It's really interesting. I want to show you. So what I want to see is this. So we're in a downtrend. We're at a really nice resistance level for selling, right? But nothing, look at those candles. None of those candles tell me, Tom, start selling me, right? None of them do. But if we get let's say we get just a nice big red bearish candle that breaks down like that, right? Big red bearish candle, right? Then I think we can start selling silver to the downside, right? So that's what I would be waiting for. And then at that point, if you got that big red bearish candle, you would also have a structure break on the H4, right? And this is the H4. Now, realistically, this is the last low you want to break through here, you know. Okay, so if we start, you know, price comes down, breaks this level, then I think silver sells would be a good trade. All right. Now, if we go back to the day chart, right, this is a good level for selling, right? So what does that mean? US dollar strength, right? And if I just show you a lot of US dollar pairs, right, Euro US dollar, weekly chart, right, there's a level through here. It's hit many times in here before, right? We had to go so far back for Euro US dollar just to get some reference point, right? That's how hardcore Euro strength has been, right? But imagine this now. Now, if I'm showing you enough US dollar pairs at enough important support or resistance levels, then that alone suggests we could get a bit of a US dollar rebound. Right? I'm not saying it becomes a downtrend, but we could get a bit of a rebound from here as well. So that is US dollar strength, right? Let's look at pound US dollar because we looked at this earlier. That is at a weekly level. That would suggest a bit of US dollar selling, right? Let's have a look at New Zealand dollar, US dollar. That's literally touched this area through here. Right, sorry guys, that was an old target. Let's remove that. Spring cleaning as we go. But there's a level through here where price has respected many times, right? Yeah, you'll see it clearly on the day chart there. Price there has hit a level. So if US dollar strength is going to come into the market, it's kind of now or never, right? And all of these US dollar pairs are a little bit oversold or overbought, right? This is overbought, overextended, right? We can expect a retrace back to the moving average 20. You know, Euro US dollar, pound US dollar, silver, gold, right? So really interesting for the US dollar right now because there's so many US dollar majors at important levels. So we'll keep an eye out for that over the next couple of days, maybe this week. Let's look what the weekly candle looks like. And also, guys, what's really interesting is if the dollar finds itself, you know, I spoke about it earlier when I spoke about, you know, economic data, macroeconomics news reflects technical levels a lot of the time. Now, I've just shown you that US dollar is at a lot of weekly and support levels. And you know, it's either now or never for some US dollar strength. Right now, let's go to the economic calendar. Right, so today there's no US dollar news. Let's have a look at this week. Right, let's have a look at some big US dollar news. Okay, so we've got some big 3-star news here. We've got manufacturing PMI, some PMI data, some new home sales. Right, so important. Right, we go to Thursday. We've got some durable goods, initial jobless claims, existing home sales, right? And then on Friday, no big news for the US dollar. But there's enough US dollar news for the US dollar to become strong there, right? And what you'll find is all of this 3-star ratings, right? It sort of plays into the US dollar strength. I may get egg on my face at the end of this week. So either the news, this data that's coming out, starts being good for the US dollar, right? And we see that US dollar strength come back, or the news is very mixed, if not a bit bad for the US dollar, but the US dollar price ignores the data and it just bounces off those levels anyway. Right? So look for that dynamic. It's very interesting, right? You'll see how it pans out this week, right? And on Thursday, maybe we can revisit this idea. Just somebody please remind me. Right. So what else are we looking at, guys, today? 704 Woman. I love the name. 704 Woman. Better than 703. Fact. So 704 Woman, I just did a top-down analysis on pound US dollar. It's currently in the area I think is a good chance of reversing. Just waiting on my confirmations. 704 Woman, great minds think alike. That's exactly what we said at the start of this live stream, right? Pound US dollar is at a key level here, right? As a lot of the US dollar pairs are. Can we see some US dollar strength, right? Maxie, how are you, Max? And Max, thanks for sharing all your trade ideas in the Discord channel. Yeah, I'm sure people are learning from them, and you had some great trades in there. So good stuff. Dream Lifestyle. Good day. Can you do UK 100, please? Yes, I can. And because you said good day, are you Australian? I told you I'm like Sherlock Holmes. Honestly, nothing gets past me. Okay, 704 Women. Naz is on my top 5 of favorite rappers. Totally agree. I love Naz. I feel like playing a Naz song. He is a wonderful rapper. Dream Lifestyle. Let's have a look at the UK 100. Where are we? FTSE. My motherland indice. Now, so yeah, FTSE's interesting, right? It kind of held on to this level, right? So again, when I was talking to you about perspective, right? If we had a big red candle that finished down here, which it was at one point, that's terrifying, right? That could be the end of the world. Right? And then you'd have to worry about this next level, right? But as it stands, it held at this level. And I can't help but think Trump thought, oh shit, look at the indices. This really is going badly. Let's do a 90-day pause. Oh, look at the indices, right? That's how easy he can manipulate the market. And I can't help but think he keeps an eye on those things, or his advisors do. Right? He doesn't want to be the president that, crumbles the indices, right? And he's very pro-business, right? He couldn't be any more anti-business at the moment. Anyway, weekly, right, is in a downtrend. I'm going to suggest that this here was a substantial enough move up before it broke down, right? So that low there has been broken. So it is in a downtrend, but again, do you want to sell these candles? Answers on a postcard, and that postcard in big capital letters should say no bloody way, right? You don't, right? I don't want to sell those candles. If anything, I'd want to buy them up to this 84,000 level, right? That's what I'd be looking to do. But let's get another opinion. Let's have a look at the day chart. And, right, again, if we just look at this, right, it's in a downtrend. We get this sort of point here, and it's a bit subjective, right? Is that enough to be called a lower high? Because we get a push down and then it bounces off, right? I'm going to say no, it isn't, right? And I'm suggesting trend is this. And we're basically back to the moving average 20. So again, it'll be really interesting to see what the market does here. But for me, that's still in a daily downtrend. So, if you think about weekly and daily, all right, downtrend. So you should be looking for sells. But nothing's been telling us to sell the market. Ever since we bounced off those lows, that's bullish. That wick is bullish. That's bullish. That's nothing. That's bullish. That's nothing. That's bullish. That's nothing. That's bullish. Right? Even if you did want to sell this market, nothing's telling you to sell it. Right? And those weekly charts and weekly candles definitely aren't as well. So it's the old, I'm in a downtrend, but candles are telling me to buy. And this contradiction, is difficult to trade into, right? I don't want to. So that's the problem with the FTSE right now. If we look at H4, you know, this is a key level, right? You can just see them straight away, right? The markets tell you, they say, Tom, this is a key level. If we break this level, it's going lower. If it holds on to this level, we're going higher. And that's the level. Let's look at it on the day chart. And it coincides with what we was potentially thinking as, you know, is that a new lower high, right? It's no, you know, makes sense. So this level through here is the one for me, right? If we keep getting bullish candles off this level, then I think we can come up to the next piece of resistance, and this 84,000. Okay, and that's looking most likely looking at the candlesticks, right? But if we get a big bearish rat, right, then I would suggest price is coming lower, right? And then my target would be not all the way back down here, although it could do. I would be looking to take it back to these lows in here, right? And maybe this 8,000 level would be a good target. All right, so yeah, it's really a buy trade for me at the moment, looking at those candles. But it's not a top-notch A1 super pucker bad boy Chuck Norris trade idea, right? It's just, that's the analysis. Do I want to trade it? Probably not right now. So yeah, there you go. Guys, I see that we, okay, so I can answer a couple of quick ones. So 704, is that a 20 EMA? It's a 20 SMA. Between 20 EMA, 20 SMA, doesn't matter, right? They're pretty much the same. I know exponential is different and it takes into account the last more previous candles. Is that correct terminology? Yeah. But yeah, 20 EMA, 20 SMA, not much between it. Put them both on your chart, you know, and then you can see it. Right, and we've got more questions to Shreyas. Jimmy Noodles, how the devil have you been? How are you? Good to see you on the live stream. Guys, we have run out of time, though. I can see we're getting loads of questions in. Just a nice couple of comments here. Phidias Prop Firm, really like your trading sessions. Thank you very much. You're welcome. And guys, yeah, after this live stream, we are, I say launching, posting. I never get the right terminology. I've had a YouTube channel for about 3 years and I still get the terminology completely wrong. We are posting a free price action course after this live stream, guys. So go check it out. It just breaks down price action, keeps it super simple. And to be honest with you, like, you don't need much more than that, right? Don't overcomplicate it. So check that out after the live stream, guys. Thank you for all your questions. Thank you for spending time with me. And everyone that I didn't answer the questions, come and join us tomorrow, same time, and we'll answer your questions then, guys. All right. So have a great trading day. Catch up with you tomorrow.